This is a video review of the Grizzly 13-inch helical cutter head planer that I just bought. And I normally don't do tool reviews. I don't do much on YouTube, but this was a tool that I've been looking at for a long time. And not the specific brand, but a planer as a tool. And there's not a whole lot out there on the internet. There's a lot on how to use planers, but there's not much as far as reviews, especially the Grizzly tool that has the helical head. So I decided to just put together a short video on this tool. I ordered it 2 days ago, and it came quick via UPS. Took, I think, maybe 2 days for it to arrive. The packaging and boxing was good, with the exception of one thing we're going to look at here just a second. The left corner of the planer, you can see there in the front, is actually pushed down and bent a little bit. And the box was completely fine when the planer arrived, so it's not like the box got crushed or anything like that. It was bent when I took it straight out of the box. So that was, I'll say now, probably the only disappointment as far as that I had in the tool. I ended up, because that's just thinner sheet metal on top, I was able to bend it mostly straight with my hand. I unscrewed the two bolts you see on top there and was able to straighten it the rest of the way using some pliers and vice grips. So it's not something that I would have returned the machine for because it didn't affect functionality in any way. But it was bent coming out of the box, so I thought I needed to be upfront about that. Once it was unbent and back together, everything looked fine after that. This is a picture of the helical cutter head. And part of the reason I went with the Grizzly is because of the helical cutter head option. I wanted to make sure that I got that type of cutter head, because the straight blades tend to do more chip and tear out when you're planing. The spherical cutter heads are a little better, but they still, the small cutter heads still hit the wood at a 90-degree angle to the direction of feed. Whereas these helical cutters, if you can notice, they actually hit the wood at an angle, and so that allows it to plane better without nearly as much tear out. Another one of the big selling points that made me decide to go with Grizzly was because of the surface there. You can see that that's actually a piece of polished granite, so it is dead flat. And I haven't owned another planer, so maybe the steel plate ones are just as good. But I know from working on granite before that it's not going to flex or bend when you put a piece of wood through. And so that was one thing that I thought was worthwhile. Whether or not it's a benefit or not, I don't know, because I've never had the steel plate ones. But I know that at least this one is going to have a dead flat planing surface for as long as I have it, as long as the granite doesn't break, which I assume it won't. Here's just a quick video of a practice run. Disregard the bare feet. I don't woodwork in bare feet, but I wanted to test the tool out real quick while right after I unboxed it, before I start setting it up on the table and figure out what to do with it. The one thing what I did is I fed a piece. This is just a piece of poplar. I wanted to run it through, testing the dust extraction as well as how accurate the measurements were at the front of the machine, and they were extremely accurate. It goes down to really a quarter of a turn, plane 1/64th of an inch, which is, and it seemed to be really accurate. I measured with my calipers between each cut, and 1/64th was right what it was taken off. So I was really happy with that, as well as absolutely zero snipe or tear out or anything like that. And that first cut was just a 1/32nd inch cut. This next cut I'm going to do here in just a second, I cranked it up to the max that it could do, which is an 1/8 inch cut, and I ran the board through with an 1/8 inch. Now, granted, I would probably never need to do this, or wouldn't try to do this once I'm actually making something, but I just wanted to see how the planer handled it, especially with a smaller piece of wood. So I put that through, pulling out a full 1/8 of an inch. And you'll see when it comes out just as clean as when I did 1/64th of an inch. So no snipe, no tear out, no problems at all. So the blades are clearly, now they're brand new, so they're sharp, and but they're clearly cutting and taking away the material the way they should without pulling the material or ripping it up. And so if you look at the edges of the board, is usually what's always prone to the snipe and tear out. And there is none at all. That surface is smoother than probably 400 grit sandpaper. It's ready to finish right there if I wanted to. So I was really happy with that. This last video here is just showing the amount of sawdust. The dust collection system seems to work pretty good on it. It's only a 2-inch receiver on that. It would have been nice maybe for 4, but maybe at the 2-inch there's higher suction as opposed to more airflow, and so the excuse me, so maybe more chips are sucked up that way. So in wrapping this up, I will say, the downside I got is the tool was actually bent coming from Grizzly, which was a surprise. And it appears like, it was shipped that way because the box was in perfectly good condition. The styrofoam that was inside was not broken or cracked or anything like that. So this one must have slipped by their QC controller. Aside from that, a few other things I think I'd like to highlight on the planer here is the cost of it was a really attractive point for this. It was 800 some odd bucks for a helical head cutter planer, which by comparison, if you look at a DeWalt with a similar head, is anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500. And if you're looking at the Bird helical cutter heads, those are great, but again, those are usually about a $500 upgrade to most planers. The DeWalt, it's about a $500 upgrade, and you have to install it yourself as well as put all those the little blades onto the actual. Some of the areas you can tell where Grizzly saved money in the production is the green areas you see in the picture here are plastic. It doesn't affect functionality at all, but it's not steel or even any type of sheet metal. But they put the money where it counts, which is in the helical cutter and ensuring that it's completely flat by using the granite surface there that it planes across. The controls and the way the head moves up and down are extremely accurate. They seem to be repeatable. The amount that it was taken off is, matched my caliper exactly to the thousandth of an inch, actually. The dust collection was really good. Very little pieces of wood or chips that did not get caught by the dust collection. Granted, this was a small test with a small piece of wood, but most of what was getting planed off did get sucked up through the dust collector. So otherwise, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Overall, I would give it probably a 4 out of 5 stars right now, and the only 1 star is coming away because of the damage in the shipping and maybe some of the aesthetic things. But it doesn't appear to affect functionality at all. So, a year from now, if I've been using the machine and it's still performing the way I hope it does, maybe I'll come back and update that. But it seems like a great tool, good bang for the buck for the price point, under $1,000 for a helical head cutter that performs well. I think is about as good as you can hope for. So thanks for watching. Don't worry about hitting the subscribe button because I don't put many videos up, and I don't maintain a channel. But I just thought for those of you interested in the Grizzly planer, this would be a decent video to get a look at it so you can make your own informed decision. Thanks.